cooking up some good old-fashioned rice and pinto beans. It's a southern favorite. Let's get it started. Okay, so we're going to start off by rinsing 2 1-pound bags of pinto beans here. So 2 of them, so it's going to be a total of 2 pounds of pinto beans. Okay, so now we're going to give it a quick rinse, and around this time I'm also going to pick through to make sure there's no rocks or any hard pieces in here. We're rinsing it real good here. And so we're not doing the soak method. I rarely soak my pinto beans because the soaking takes several hours, so I just rather a longer cook time on mine. Okay, so you want to have a large enough pot. This is an 8-quart pot here. Now it can be a little bit larger. Just make sure you have a big enough pot to give room for your beans and your water and everything to boil. Just as long as it's big enough. All right, so we're going in with 1 smoked turkey leg. Now you can do pork and you can do any other kind of smoked meat you like. I prefer the smoked turkey leg here because it just has more meat on it, for one. So when it's boiling in here, it gets nice and tender and it's very, very meaty for when we take the meat off the bone. Okay, so now we're going to be adding in 4 liters of water. And I'm adding 1 liter at a time because, of course, I got a small pitcher here. From here, we're going to be taking about a medium-sized onion here, and we're going to cut it in half. This amount of pinto beans is only going to call for about this much onion here. But if you just love onion, feel free to put it all in, but I would say that's a little bit too much. So about half of this onion will do the trick. Okay, so now we're going to put our onions in here. Okay, so now we're going to be adding about 2, possibly 3 tablespoons of salted butter. Now we're going in with seasoned salt. We're using 2 tablespoons of seasoned salt. Our seasoning blend is so simple in these pinto beans, y'all. Less is more. The most flavorful pinto beans you'll ever taste, trust me. So we're going in with 1.5 tablespoons of pepper. Now we're going to be adding 3 tablespoons of sugar. And now we're going to add our pinto beans. And that is the only seasoning we use. We do not need any extra like leaves or any extra kind of seasoning. These just simple seasonings will do the trick. Again, best pinto beans ever. Gonna give it a quick stir, put it on this stove and bring it up to a good boil here. All right, so get to that rapid boil. Then we're gonna kind of cover it up here. And we're just gonna kind of periodically stir. These pinto beans right here has been cooking right here, I would say roughly about 45 minutes. At about the hour mark, we'll take the smoked turkey leg out to strip it of the meat. All right, it's been cooking for about an hour now, and see it's kind of cooking down. We don't need to add any kind of thickening agents or anything. It's going to make its own thick juice. All right, so now I'm going to begin to cut the meat off of the turkey leg. And the reason why I put the meat in the pot whole without cutting it off in the very beginning, because I like to, the meat tends to cook a little bit more tender if it's allowed to cook on the bone at first. You can cut it off the bone from the beginning if you like. The beans will still taste pretty good. The meat might not be as tender if you do it that way. So I prefer to do it this way, so it'll be a little bit more tender as it is allowed to cook on the bone. Because this meat is really hot, so we're going to just strip most of this meat off the bone. We're going to chop it up really good as we get ready to put it back in the pot. Chopping it up really good. The total cook time on these pinto beans, because I do not soak, is about 2 hours and 15 minutes. Could roughly be 2 hours and 30 minutes. It really just depends here. But it is a minimum of a 2-hour cook time. Okay, we'll get it chopped up nice and fine here. And I know some of you all may be a little partial to pork, but I like the smoked turkey. But I'll use pork too sometime, but the smoked turkey works just great. All right, we're going to put all that good chopped up meat back into the pot. Give it a quick stir. It's going to cook down another hour here. And as you can see, it's thickening up. All right, we're going to start on our rice. In a small pot, we're going to put 1 full liter of water. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. A tablespoon to about 2 tablespoons of salted butter, or you can just use regular butter. And when it comes to a heavy boil, we're putting in 1 cup of long grain rice. Now, as you can see, when I put in that 1 cup, it immediately brought the temperature down. It immediately stopped boiling. That's exactly what it should do. And you're going to wait until that boil comes back up. Now it's rapidly boiling again. As soon as it comes back up to a rapid boil, you're going to kind of slightly cover it up here. And you're going to turn the eye down to more like, put it on medium heat at this point. And once you get it to like a medium boil, it's going to cook for an additional 12 to 13 minutes. That's about the intensity of the boil that you want here. Okay, so it's been boiling about 13 good minutes now. Now, if you like your rice really, really starchy, you can just let all that water absorb. But I prefer a little cross between a little bit of flaky and a little bit of starch. So I rinse my rice. I almost always rinse my rice. Okay, so we're going to put our rice in this little colander here. And make sure when you rinse your rice for extra flaky rice, make sure you rinse it with extremely hot water, because you don't want to bring that temperature down on that rice too much. Okay, so I'm rinsing it off. Now again, if you want it very flaky, you would rinse all of the starch off. If you want a little bit of starch left, just rinse about, just a little bit, about 50% of it off, and you'll be good. Me, I just rinsed a decent amount off because I like a little bit of starch left in mine, but I don't want it too starchy. Again, if you don't want any starch at all, just rinse until it's all gone and be nice and flaky for you. Okay, so it's been sitting. It's still really nice and hot because I rinsed it with that hot water. And it's pretty much completely drained here. And it's time for me to pour this over in a nice little bowl. And I have a lot less rice than I have pinto beans because I really didn't have a lot of rice to cook. So this is all the rice I had. Okay, that rice is still nice and hot. We're going to add about another tablespoon of butter because this is a good buttery rice here. I'm going to get that all mixed in and get that butter nice and melted into this rice. Okay, so we're going back over to the pinto beans, and they have cooked all the way down. Look how rich that is. That liquor has the perfect consistency. It is so good. Not too thick, not too thin, just absolutely perfect, y'all. It's patience. My pot took a total of 2.5 hours. Some would, like I said, some would take 2 hours. Some may take up to 2.5. Mine took 2.5 to cook. Okay, so now in a bowl here, I'm placing myself a little bit of rice here. right, going over here to these delicious pinto beans. Oh my goodness, y'all, look at that. Look how rich those beans are. They smell delicious and they are perfectly tender. Oh, what a little patience will do. Now, I gotta have a little onion because I am a southern girl. And I get that from my daddy. He gotta have him some onions on his plate.
All done, y'all. Simple, delicious, traditional pinto beans with some buttery rice, y'all. Now, I gotta get a little bite of that. Now, look how rich, delicious, though. Ooh, look at them pinto beans, y'all. Get a little bit more than pinto beans on it. Y'all, this is so good. I hope you try it real soon, y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.